All right, I can see you all in there. Hello, everyone. I am setting us up and about to share with all of the other pages, and I don't know if you know who our guest is tonight, but you will want to share this. I'm letting you know in advance that you need to share exactly what's happening tonight. You want someone else to be a part of it. Trust me. I'm sharing right now. We're just a few seconds early. That doesn't happen all of the time. So it's letting you know you're supposed to be here and there's still time for you to invite someone else as I'm sharing. Thank you so much for being here with us. Please say hello. Let me know that you're here. I would love to chat with you. This will not be a one-way conversation. We literally want to have a dialogue with you all, talk about some things that are important to real women. We like to say that this is a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. And so I will formally introduce myself in a moment. I'm still sharing. And I hope that you are. Somebody give me a hello and a what's up in there so I'll know that you're here as I'm sharing. I'm almost there. All right, I've done all my sharing tonight. I'm hoping that you have as well. I think I'm ready to chat with you all. I see you coming in. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Robin. Hi, Pamela. How are you all doing tonight? I'm ready to share a little bit with you all before we introduce our guest. My name is Trinace Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women. And we exist to create safe spaces for women to do personal development work on themselves. And we do that through sister circles. So we host virtual and in-person sister circles on a monthly basis. We have sister circles that physically meet on a monthly basis. We have had to, of course, stop meeting in person since the coronavirus has spread, but we have those still intact. And we have put in place virtual sister circles to ensure that anyone and every woman, no matter where you are in the globe, you have an opportunity to connect with us. And so you'll want to go to realwomenrock.org. Again, that's realwomenrock.org, because we place information there every month to let you know exactly when our sister circles are being held. Our very next sister circle is coming up in 2 weeks, and we're going to be talking about what's in a name, just the idea of our names and the significance of them, the trauma behind some of them. We're going to have a really good time with that. And then we're going to end the month of September with closing out our conversation on the spirituality of sexuality. You don't want to miss either of those sister circles, and it doesn't matter where you live in the world, you can be a part of those. You'll go to realwomenrock.org, and you can also find us on any social media platform: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, so hello. I see you all in here. I want to share a couple of things with you. We have been in our August, July, June, our summer sister circles. We've been talking about things that matter. We've been calling them grown folks topics, grown women topics, because they have been what are important to us as women. And we're going to continue that in that sphere. Even on tonight, we're going to be talking about Black love being a radical protest. And so I am elated, because I'm going to share a lot with you real quick before I introduce her to you. But I want you to know that this is going to be the kind of conversation that you want to be a part of and you want to share with someone else. So if you have not shared yet, please invite someone on with us. Veronica Very, and some of you all can let me know in the chat if you are. I know you are. Some of you are because you told me you were coming here to be with us just because she was here with us tonight. But you may know that she is not only in the Black art space, her and her husband, but she is an international speaker and workshop convener. She hosts Wonder of Women International, and her moniker is My Story, Your Story, Our Story is a Wonder. And I am just elated. I'm going to tell you in front of her how much this space means to me to have her on tonight. But I am just elated to have her with us. And so I hope that you will be a part of this conversation. What we're going to ask is we're going to ask some questions of you, and then we're also going to pose some comments that may and some commentary that you may want to ask some questions of us. And so we would love for this to be a dialogue. All right, Veronica, are you ready? I'm ready for you, ma'am. Okay. I'm gonna be a little tickled pink tonight, so you're gonna have to excuse me. I refuse to do this without being able to look you in your eyes, in those yellow glasses, and tell you how much of a blessing you have been to me, because I know you remember this, but I just want to express it to you. Of course, shout out to both of our sisters and my mentor, Vicki Johnson, because she was the reason why I was able to be connected to you in one of her spaces. And not only do you transform a room when you are speaking to, you know, dozens, hundreds, thousands, it's just a blessing to be in a space to just watch God use you transform it, and transform us in the process. But I also had the opportunity, not just in that corporate space, but literally one-on-one, and I know I'm a crying this daggone thing, but literally in my one-on-one time with you, whenever that has been, you have breathed life into me, and just spoken words of life. I am just so grateful to you for being, literally just being who you are and walking in your true authenticity. Because what we don't know, and we're about to find out a little bit, but we don't know how much it takes for somebody to get to the place where they can stand in their truth and be who God has truly created them to be. But once they've gone through all of that to get to that place, it is such a tremendous blessing, and there's a ripple effect that happens that sometimes you're not even aware of. And so I just want you to know that not only have you been a blessing to me personally, but you've been a blessing to others that I've been in contact with, because I have been more of me, just more of who I am. And I'm so grateful for that. So I guess I'm gonna just, okay, so
Allow me to
another
say thank you.
introduction. Hey, Veronica Barry, she is a true blessing. That's what somebody else said in introduction. Could you please say hello to everybody before we get started?
First of all, I have to just really breathe in and take in all of what you just offered. Truly beautiful, um, deeply heartfelt, and I appreciate you. I thank God for our sister, Vicki Johnson, for creating sacred space for women in Florida that year. Oh, that year, the year that I didn't believe that I'd actually make it, um, to the water. But then, um, as the days ensued, I was scheduled to speak at that conference. And having lost my daughter in July that same year, 2017, July 31st, I didn't know if I physically would be able to make it. Um, so I'm grateful for that space, because it was because of that sacred, powerful, Holy Spirit filled space that we were able to meet. And it was after I had the opportunity to pour and share
Mhm.
um, in that space that I was found safe,
Mm,
you
mm,
know, in loving arms
mhm,
um, that just desired to support me and be there for me. And those arms were your arms.
mhm,
And the way you served me,
mhm,
I speak in all sorts of places,
mhm,
and I'm grateful for those opportunities. But people tend to miss or not appreciate the vulnerability
mhm,
required
mhm.
to basically become a love offering.
Yes.
But you didn't miss it.
Mm,
You didn't miss it, and I love you for that. I
mhm,
fell in love with you that day
mm,
when you you know served me the way
mhm,
that you did and made sure I got to my room,
mhm.
you know, so I could get a shower because, you know, you clearly understand
Mhm,
being in that place. So
mhm,
I love you with my soul for that.
mhm.
Um, so thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for being that real woman, right?
yeah, yeah.
I appreciate you. And to everyone who's here, I'm so excited. I'm gonna
Mhm.
try to move outside because it's so beautiful out there.
Please do. Please
And
do.
yeah, I want to be out with nature.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
anyways, I just wanted to say thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. And
And just when I moved,
oh, you're
listen,
that is so funny. You
when
found
I
it when you were supposed to. That is beautiful. Yes,
just when
I
I
love
moved.
it. I love. Yes. Okay. This is
Oh,
about to be a blessing. Yes. Yeah, this is about to be a blessing. Some folks that know. I want to start where you just went because I am in awe while at the same time, and I said it all already, I know I don't have to know the specifics of anything. If you had not told your story that day, I know that there is only glory through your story. So so I
mhm,
know that there is a story behind, and and your moniker is my story is a wonder. So I know that there is just
mhm,
so much
mhm,
that is involved in your life and your story to bring to bear all that you do in a space. And so, at the same time that I'm asking you a question, I want you all who are listening um, to really just think about those transformative moments in your life when you have they been the most wonderful or have they been the most traumatic and tragic? Like what has
mhm,
literally been the pivotal moments in your life? If you can answer that question for me in the chat, what have been the most pivotal moments in your life? I would love for you to answer that for me. And so to you, I'm going to try not to cry through this whole thing, Veronica. Your journey
mhm,
as an international speaker, as a liberator, as an author, it is it. I know it has not been an easy one, yet you are the most loving soul I've ever connected with. And I say that with all sincerity because I have watched you
mhm,
pour love on me and feeling like I'm the only one literally by the fire. I'm the only one in this
mhm,
space.
mhm,
But I've watched you do that
mhm,
with every single person so that there is literally, even if it's through social media, your I love you just screams when others when others just whisper it. And so with that, what has made your journey what has gotten you to this place where there is so much love in your heart, and I guess where you have been able to transcend, because I know that there is trauma and tragedy in your story. I'm just wondering, if you can share a little bit of that and what has brought you back to this place of love or to it
Mm, mm,
completely.
mm, mm, mm. So, you know, in keeping with this topic you have deemed for us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just really, a position that has been edged in my soul um, as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Black love is my radical protest.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think about Black love being your Black love as, something, a romantic experience,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
an experience of love, an intimate experience with someone. But for me, Black love is really, um, the beautiful marrying of love and truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe love cannot be love without truth. And by
Mm-hmm.
nature, yeah, love cannot be love without truth. And when we are attempting or trying to engage a love experience without truth,
Mm-hmm.
we are engaging a love experience that is absent power.
Mm.
Um, when we are attempting to engage a love experience without truth, we are engaging a love experience that is absent power.
Wow.
And so the truth is,
You might have to go back inside. You're pausing. The truth is where I
the
was.
truth is, can you
Yep.
hear me?
Yep. Go
The
ahead.
truth is, in 1994, I received a call at my office. I was organizing a statewide um, Senate campaign and received a call that my brother died.
Mm.
I learned that my brother, who was less than a year younger than me, in 1994 was beat to death in police custody.
Mm. Mm.
This was in 1994. In 1996, I gave one of my kidneys to my mom
Mm-hmm.
because she needed it. And if I had another one to give her, I would have given that to her as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And in 2006, she passed away, my best friend, my
Mm-hmm.
mom.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2010, I had a very, very dear friend who was super close to me to commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had in 2017 probably the greatest loss of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, my daughter, who was living with sickle cell, living and suffering with sickle cell, to pass away July 31st, 2017, as I mentioned earlier. And so I lay those out there in my truth
Mm-hmm.
because we are really, really good at sharing the story of our glory,
Mm-hmm.
sharing the story of what, is so wonderful and great and fabulous, because we believe that's what other people want to hear.
Yes.
When love is not love without truth,
Mm-hmm.
and um, you can't have a love experience without truth.
Mm.
And while it may be uncomfortable, while it may be painful, while it may be something that you want to ignore and wish never happened, um, your power, the power of love, is literally sitting in that
Yes.
truth.
Yes.
So those are just some of the things that I've experienced that literally in the process I refused to ignore
Mm-hmm.
from 1994. I didn't run from the pain and decided to lean in to it without even realizing that that's what I was doing. But it was literally a protest for me
Mm-hmm.
to lean into my truth, which, is why I share my story as a wonder, because it truly is a wonder
Mm-hmm.
to have to go through all of that and still be here,
Mm-hmm.
still be resolute about loving and showing up,
Mm-hmm.
and under, and sort of my deepest, most heartfelt motivation in all of that is that I want to experience the meaning, the purpose, what God was thinking about when He allowed me to go through police brutality and domestic violence and, raising a child with a chronic illness. Meaning in that, there's meaning in that. There's power in that. There's power in that. And to deny, suppress, ignore, and avoid that is to completely deny, suppress, and ignore and avoid your power. So, so love is fabulous. Love is wonderful. It makes you feel good. It is healing. It's motivating. It takes you to new heights. It allows you to see things differently, and puts a pep in your step, and affords you the activity of what God was thinking about. Just the creativity and the juices that flow from your co-creation with your creator, in your purpose, on your path. But the activation, the power of that love, girls, it's in your truth. It's in your truth.
Woo. And
it's in
your truth. Love without truth is not even powerful.
Yeah, if there ain't no power there. If you didn't love, if it didn't hurt, you didn't love. Now, that doesn't mean that I ain't talking about domestic violence. I'm not talking about having someone beat you upside the head. I'm talking about that unadulterated, beautiful, intimate, absolutely powerful, naked, raw, vulnerable, authentic, loving, inspiring love that makes you remember those thoughts God had when He was fashioning you in your mama's womb.
What you make me think about, Veronica, is the risk and the vulnerability involved in loving fully. That until we have taken the risk to literally jump in deep waters with someone, family members, intimate romantic love, that we don't know what it's like to feel like I don't have all my bearings. I can't. We get to decide whether we're going to drown in it or just rest and float in it and allow it to overcome us. And that comes with the risk, because we want to be in control. We want to be able to anticipate what's going to happen. And I dare say you would not have willed for any of that to happen.
Come on.
Your brother, to your mother, to your beloved daughter, you wouldn't have willed that. But to lean into it allows this magnanimous power that exudes from your just being. And I have to keep saying that, because it is evident when anyone, anyone rests in who they fully are. And there's such a fight. When I met you, and I'm going to get to a story about, I want you to share about Black love that you've found or has found you throughout all of this. But when I think about the wrestling that I've done as it relates to fully being who I am and embracing the truth of my story, and fully loving, because we're talking about love in the sense of other people, but there's this full love that has to happen within and for ourselves in order to experience the power and the truth of what love can do for us. And so I think I was wrestling with that, and literally, swimming, trying against the waves, when I talked with you, and it was just freedom. Literally, just talking to you was freedom. And I have now, I gave you credit for it the first 2 times when I said I'm a member of the Church of the Free, and after that it became mine. So. So I would love for you through, because what you've done is you've let those of us know. I can't think of anything more hurt-filled than losing your child. I can't think of anything that that trumps that. And so
Mm-mm.
when you name all of these moments in your life that that were pivotal and could have caused you to run from, how and when and could you describe how you were able to find not just love and power to share with folks out on a stage, but within your own personal life, you have found the love of your life amidst all of that hurt. And most of that closes, you know, all of those kinds of tragedies close us up, make us build walls. We can't trust nobody.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to love nobody, all that kind of stuff. Could you
Mm-hmm.
speak to how love has blossomed for you in that way as
Mm-hmm.
well?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Go on and blush.
Yes, love it. But you hit it when you talked about us wanting to control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Us wanting to control is really fear
Mm-hmm.
having its way. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
it's not love, it's fear. And fear-based emotions and behaviors
Mm-hmm.
um, typically write a different story for us
Mm-hmm.
that we did not desire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fear-based behaviors um, write a different story for us. So the story that I wanted to write was one of love.
Mm-hmm.
I married my first husband because I was running from, you know, a home of domestic violence and alcoholism. I was looking for an escape route. So essentially, I married my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend and I created a home, and we had a wonderful time together. We were married, and as a matter of fact, my child, you know, Ashley, came from my first marriage. And when I woke up, you know, and discovered that my escape route had run out
Wow.
of adrenaline and power and ability to continue, I had to dismiss any fear that said I would never love again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so the first thing for me was to dismiss my fear and keep my heart open.
Yeah.
Um, especially since I have been on this path with God, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I knew that my life, you know, my journey um, has been a love experience with my creator. So in that love experience, I knew that in my heart that at some point I would meet someone.
Mm-hmm.
But what I learned is when you surrender and let go and open up your heart to those thoughts God was thinking about when he created you,
Mm-hmm.
you will attract to you those people, places, and things that are specific and intentionally meant for your journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I had to dismiss my fears
Mm-hmm.
and get in touch with those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And getting in touch with those thoughts look like Black love, you
Mm.
know, Black love that said, I'm going to love myself.
Yes.
So I did my work.
Mm-hmm.
I did my healing work,
Mm-hmm.
my personal work,
Mm-hmm.
and asked the questions I needed to ask to figure out what happened. How did I attract this? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result of doing that work, I positioned myself on the path,
Mm.
you know, to, you know, surrender and connect with, you know, the one God was thinking about.
Yo, all of your aura just, just shifted.
The one that
Yeah.
was thinking about. Because see, I controlled myself. I feared myself into
Mm.
a marriage.
Yeah.
Right? But I surrendered myself into a co-creation love experience of Black love.
I want you to keep going. I want you to keep going, but you got to stop for a second. You got to slow down because you controlled yourself. You boxed yourself
Right.
in and reined yourself in
Right.
to your first
Marriage.
to your first relationship, and you surrendered and let it all go. And that's
into.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That was the difference. Fear will run you into a whole bunch of places you ain't supposed to be, sis.
Mm, mm,
That was an escape route,
mm,
and
mm.
I loved him, but he was my friend. And
Yeah.
he was supposed to be my friend. He wasn't supposed to
Yeah.
be my husband. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, anyways,
Mm.
and I thank God I'm so free because anyone can tell him that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
But and he brought me the most beautiful blessing of my life, my
Mhm.
child. So I'm saying that when I'm gonna have to close the door because I'm not gonna do these mosquitoes.
No, you fine. We
So
have a
when
conversation.
so I'm just moving all around.
Mm-mm.
So when I got back, I had fallen taking care of Ashley and ended up moving to Maryland as a result. Um, and that's where I did my healing work.
Mm.
And then God told me to go back to Seattle. And I was like, oh, God, kicking and screaming because, in Maryland, I had all of, for those of you who don't know, Seattle don't have no brothers, like available brothers.
Right.
The pickings are slim.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to go back to Seattle. um, and I went back to Seattle and I ultimately ended up like on a sofa talking to God. And
Mm.
when he told me that I needed to create Wonder of Women,
Mhm.
well, a sister friend told me to call this fella
Mhm.
who could help me with my marketing materials.
Mhm.
All of my life, I have been designing and creating these, these women leadership experiences for women leaders all over the world that didn't look like me.
Mhm.
So I was leaning into God's intention for me to create Wonder of Women. So I gave him a call
Mhm.
and um, arranged to meet him over at his home office.
Mhm.
And we began. One of the things that I said before I met him is that the stipulation for my hiring him was that he could be my co-creator, my creative partner.
Mm.
Because I wasn't looking for someone to design for me what they saw.
Mhm.
I needed him to design for me what I saw.
Wow.
And so the conversation was so powerful that by the time we hung up the phone, I literally hung up the phone and paid him in full
Wow.
without ever even seeing his work,
Wow.
which is completely unheard of for
Right.
me. For
Yeah.
anybody who knows me, I would never pay somebody in full without ever even seeing the product
Yeah.
of what he's produced. And so, to be really frank and very genuine and true,
Mhm.
in our creation of Wonder of Women,
Mhm.
we engage conversations about love and fear. Isn't that something?
Yes.
And in those conversations about love and fear, we got a chance to get to know one another.
Mhm.
And I watched this man pour his heart into creating Wonder of Women.
Mm.
And y'all, his office was in the garage and his art was up against the wall.
Mm.
And when I tell you that I discovered his art and he literally captured my heart.
Wow.
And I said at that moment that as soon as we get done with this, because I was pregnant with Wonder of Women,
Yeah.
as soon as we get through this, I'm coming back to see about this man
Mm.
because
Mm.
um, the way he's pouring into my vision,
Yeah.
I must pour into his.
Wow. Wow.
That's how we met. We fell in love through our purpose, through our vision. And from that creation, well, essentially that makes him Wonder Woman's dad, right?
Oh my gosh.
And from that creation, Wonder of Women, um, in June 2016, uh, we've literally been from Seattle to South around the nation and to South Africa, doing that work. And not only that, he has birthed a number of iconic uh, art collections. And so I said that to say, and so, anyone who's listening, he's Hiawatha D. His website is hiawathad.net. And for the past 30 years, he has committed his entire body of work to painting Black people in an upwardly mobile, high place, powerful, way that will make you proud, that will give you, put a pep in your step and remind you of your Black brilliance, our Black genius, and our Black excellence. So we get a chance to co-create together because now he continues to support me in my creations, and I continue to do the same. And we just make beautiful love, we just make beautiful love as a radical protest.
Can I say there are pieces of this that I did not know. So when I am seeing love, light, liberation, when I'm seeing Wonder of Women, that I am literally seeing both of you. That is heartwarming to me, and it is probably why I am, technically when you're in Seattle, I'm all the way literally on the other side of the country, on the East Coast, but I'm so drawn to you and your work and who you are. And I tell you that as often as I can. And now I know why. It's magnetic. It is love. It is literally
love.
You all created something together that continues to grow and draw.
Right.
That is beautiful. And I want you to, I only have one more question for you. We say we give folks a sneak peek into a real conversation, and I could hem you up. I've done it before, so I could hem you up for hours, but I won't do it today. Because I do want you to share any and all of where folks can find. You've given one website, anything you want to share, because you have taken this time, and both of you all together, whether it has been during or pre-pandemic, everything from love in baking to love in art, like you have just created love in so many different ways, which is why this conversation is just so appropriate for you, because you exude it in your being and in your work. But I would love for you to speak to those who are listening and watching now, and those who will be, because I've asked a couple of questions and I've gotten a few responses. Someone said that that they have allowed fear and tragedy to keep them from loving fully, but it's their desire to love, to be free to love now. Someone said it's so hard to do, but when we do, it causes amazing things to happen in our lives, that they love your story. And someone has said, yes, and I'm tired of the hurt. And I can just kind of feel that coming through, and so there have been, someone said, I'm just being right now. Could you speak to those of us who either, there's some in categories of, I've shut down as it relates to love because of the hurt. I have maybe even, I love what you said about love and truth and power, because that has, that lack of or bottling up of and restriction of love has caused us to not be open and honest about who we are, and literally not feel powerful within our own skin. So we are walking around feeling defeated and broken. Someone said alone. And so could you speak some life into us as it relates to Black love being our radical protest? What could and should we consider doing moving past this conversation once we're gone? What can they consider?
So the first thing you have to consider is yourself. And I'm not, I just need us to give ourselves the grace and
Mhm,
the space
mhm,
to prioritize ourselves.
mhm,
The reason it's critical, the reason it's like literally imperative
mhm,
and emergent
mhm,
that we do that,
mhm.
you know, is because when we don't prioritize ourselves, nobody else will.
That's right.
If we don't practice or create a practice of loving ourselves, nobody else will.
Mhm,
And if we don't take advantage of the opportunity to lean into our truth,
mhm,
we will, it will, the truth, sis, will make you free.
mhm,
So if you are always preoccupied with demonstrating love outside of yourself and prioritizing everyone else, it becomes the perfect distraction from yourself,
mhm,
you
mhm,
know, and what you need.
mhm,
And not only what you need, what you desire, what you deserve,
mhm,
and what is intended for you, destined for you,
mhm,
right? So the first thing we have to do is we have to love ourselves,
mhm.
to be with ourselves and explore the truth with ourselves.
So good.
Um, Grant yourself the grace and the space to prioritize loving you.
So good.
You know, I posted that I'm on a Black Love Healing getaway,
Mhm.
and I'm sure people think it's because Hiawatha and I are together, and we're not,
Wow.
right? And we're not.
Mm, mm, mm,
Um, this is a Veronica needs some time,
mm,
right?
mm.
So I'm saying that when you prioritize yourself, it will give you some divine intelligence about yourself.
Yes, it will. Say that again. Divine
When
intelligence.
Yeah, when you prioritize yourself, it will give you some divine intelligence about yourself, your needs, your desires, your passions, your dreams, your hurts, your sorrows, your your brokenness,
Mhm.
right? Your truth.
Yes.
Um, so grace yourself the space to prioritize yourself
Mm.
without apology, without apology, without apology.
Can I say something on that one, Veronica? It is so,
Mhm.
that is so, so fruitful for so many reasons. I think about my own life and the fact that I've been married for 21 years. But
Mhm.
because I started out in my marriage not embracing that, giving myself grace to love myself, to
Mhm.
prioritize myself within the confines of my marriage, my husband was literally dealing with a person who didn't love themselves, you know?
Right.
And so
Right. Yes.
the dynamics of our relationship was so different than it is today because he's loving someone who loves herself. And that is just so, so
Mhm.
even within the confines of one relationship, whether, whether you've gone on from one and can't trust and, all those things, the work that you talked about is so important. It is imperative because
Mhm.
it allows you to be received differently because you show up
Mhm.
differently when you
Mhm.
prioritize you. I love that.
You do.
Yeah.
You show up differently, and people show up differently,
Yes, they do.
and just energy in general shows up differently in your life when you
Yeah.
love yourself.
There's a question, and I want to make sure if you have any other love nuggets for us that I get them from you before you go. But the question is prioritizing myself the same as choosing myself? That's the question.
No, it's
Mm,
not. Let me tell you why. Choosing yourself is um, um, you know, making a decision. You know, you have the power. You get to say, you get to choose. Um, Prioritizing is making yourself, putting yourself first in the line. It
Mhm,
You become a priority, right?
mhm,
You become first class. You become the first one to get on the plane,
mm, mhm,
you
mhm,
know, and then everybody else can get on after you.
mm,
So
mhm,
there's a difference. That's a very good question.
mm,
Um, you can choose you, but not prioritize you,
mm,
you know. So prioritization is a higher vibration of you get to say. You get to say is the power, but prioritizing is placing that power
mm,
in motion, in action first.
mm, mm, mm. That is
That
so,
was an excellent question. That
yes.
was an excellent question.
Thank you for that. And that's one of our Real
Mhm.
Women Sisters asking that. So, um,
So, an example,
yes,
can I take
wherever
this
you
as a
want to
quick
go,
example?
wherever you want
So,
to go.
so as it relates to Black love,
Yes,
okay, and this is what I super want to convey is
yes.
that as it relates to Black love and as it relates to this time that we find ourselves in, you know, when we find ourselves literally in the midst of the largest, historically largest uprising for Black lives.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as we find ourselves in a moment where the truth is imperative, it is imperative that we speak truth to power about what it is that we need and who it is that we are.
Yes.
Not that what we discovered about ourselves, but who we are. If we are always prioritizing other people and other issues, then we never address our own.
Yes.
And so the necessity, so the sickness says, I got to take care of so and so, and we got to march for so and so,
Mm-hmm.
and we got to march for this other group, and we got to march for that other group. And when we're doing all of that for everybody else, then our issue, our pain, our brokenness
Mm-hmm.
is never repaired, restored, renewed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the perfect example of prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
You have to prioritize yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you. Now
Mm-hmm.
you'll get out there and die in the street, and then some other issue, some other person, some other group will experience the benefit of your blood and your pain,
Mm-hmm.
right? And your sacrifice.
Yep.
So right now, every other group is sacrificing, excuse me, experiencing the benefit of our sacrifice. So
Mm-hmm.
so Black love, being our radical protest, says, no, I need you to say Black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I need you to prioritize Black people,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then you practicing that
Yeah.
as a practice.
Yeah.
You know.
This this has been I just feel full. I feel full. Feel full. It is giggly giddy when I'm able to talk with you, and I'm so grateful. Could you please share with us where we can find you? What
Sure.
Yeah, what's available right now if folks, because I know they do want to stay in contact.
So I would say go to veronicavery.com.
Mm-hmm.
veronicavery.com. Go to mystoryisawonder.org
Mm-hmm.
and go to hvbad.com. That's
Mm-hmm.
H for Hiawatha, V for Veronica, B for Black, A for Art, D for Design.com.
I love it. And I'm gonna put all of those. I'm gonna put all of those in the comments, you all. I would love for you, if you get a chance, Veronica, to look at some of the comments on my page. You have gotten overwhelming love notes, and
Oh,
just to let them,
thank you, everyone.
yeah, they appreciate you. I am so grateful to you. I am knitted to you, literally.
Oh,
We do, and I love when there is such a strong connection that you don't have to talk to someone
that's
every
it.
day, every
That's it.
week. for it to be just as strong. And so thank you from the depths of my heart for loving
Oh,
on me.
yes.
I feel your love.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Good.
So thank
Good.
you all. This, I don't see, I can't talk. This has been an incredible time of love sharing, and I'm hoping that you feel empowered, because that's what love does,
Yes,
and
it
that's
does.
what truth does. And no matter what you're facing tonight, no matter what season of life you are experiencing right now, your power is in your truth, and you
Mm-hmm.
can love you through it, and
Mm-hmm.
grab a hold of those you love and those who love you real tight and let them know it, so that you can be powerful together. And
Mm-hmm.
someone said in the chat, I want to make that clear, that some of us feel like we don't you don't have to be in a relationship to be love filled.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
can
right.
you can love on you can love on
Mm-hmm.
sisters and family and all of those things. So thank you for
Mm-hmm.
this time. We are here every Wednesday night that we have a guest to give you a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. I have been with my sister love, Veronica Very, and I hope that you share this out with someone else. Thank you again, Veronica. I love you.
You're welcome, darling.
Bye
I love you more.
bye. Bye bye.
Take care, huh? Bye bye.